You know who this young fella we got on right here?
Mike, bro. I did all my research. I did my research.
You somebody special there because he did some research, bro.
Yeah, did my research.
If this man did some research.
I told you, bro. New year, new me, bro. I'm not bullshitting no more, man. Look at him. I gotta come here prepared, bro.
Stepping up.
Yeah, I gotta come here prepared,
so,
man.
All right. Now this gonna be New Year. Now I want you to intro the guest. Then.
I'm not doing that, bro. I'm not the host of this show. This is my role with you and Jalen Collins.
And Alex Sweet.
Where is that, bro? Do your job, man. Come on.
It's all
go and do your thing,
media.
man. Go and do your thing. No, it ain't. Look and see. Real talk. Look and see.
Man,
I'm telling you.
Now, Mike.
Go ahead.
Mike's from Jersey. For all the listeners, you don't know Mike Golic Jr. First of all, if you don't even know who Mike Golic is, you need to go fucking start your football life over.
Slap yourself.
All right? Now, first of all, Mike, OG came in my class. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know, Voorhees. Now, I got to ask you about the Voorhees, New Jersey, because is that from Jason from?
Yeah, I think so. Now, like, full disclosure on that one, I was a kid there. That was when Dad was finishing up his time with the Eagles. So
you was just there for a brief time.
Just a little quick flyby in Jersey right there, but I get to put it on the birth certificate.
Got out before they made another Jason movie.
Okay.
Got out of there. Okay. Smart man. He was so smart enough that he went to Notre Dame. You know what I'm saying? Balled out.
South Bend.
Was unfortunate on that one team that Alabama put the foot up their ass.
Damn. Honestly, I owe TCU so much for getting their ass whooped as hard as they did last night by Georgia, because now people are going to talk about our game a lot less.
Oh, yeah, no, that wasn't. Somebody said that night. I was with Lil Jon. We watched the game. I was like, that game had nothing.
We didn't forgot about that already.
Oh, yeah, forgot. That was a regular game. That was regular, yeah. Now, my dog come out of Notre Dame. First of all, he was all academic, everything. Smart man. Now, do you remember the Raycom All-Star game?
Man, listen, you always remember a trip to Birmingham, right?
No, we was in Montgomery.
Was it Montgomery? I always forget if it, because I know the Senior Bowl's in Mobile. I always have to explain to people, I'm like, so you know how there's the Senior Bowl, and then there's like the Shrine Game, and then there's like the NFL.
They got the Honolulu Bowl now too. Because my agent was up there. I called him today. He up there. I was like,
it's lit.
Yeah. Right. NFL PA this weekend. That's in LA.
Oh, PA.
NFL PA. So that's a whole different bowl game.
Okay.
And they got the Shrine and then
that's a crazy number of games.
Senior Bowl. But then we was at the Raycom.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Now let me tell you about the Raycom.
Tell me about it, baby.
Raycom was just like that one artist that come on and he heated up with one album, not even an album, with one single chart hit. And that's the last thing you hear about it. That was the Raycom All-Star game.
So kind of like the dude that did Tips. What's the nigga name? Jay Quan. Okay, I got you.
Now this game though, it was good. It was some battles. Like we were practicing going hard. You know what I'm saying? It was always competition there. You know, the game was actually not, it was a blowout. They kicked our ass.
Damn.
So who was all there? Like just names wise.
Me and Mike.
Yeah, them two.
Honestly, the most memorable thing about that week that I remember was the week when the Manti Te'o news broke.
Yeah.
Middle of the week in practice.
So that's all.
He was in Notre Dame.
He was at Notre Dame. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm thinking of some more questions later on, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, but do you remember what they gave us to eat after that game?
No, what was it?
Oh, shit.
McDonald's, bro.
Oh, man.
That's tough.
Bro,
that's what they gave to y'all?
Well, they gave a McDonald's, bro.
After the game? It wasn't a...
why you think I told you it was a one-hit wonder?
Oh, yeah?
It makes sense. That's wild.
Bro, somebody else reminded me that we had, I forgot who it was. I think of Shaq Wilson, somebody. He reminded me, like, hey, bro, you remember we ate McDonald's after that game?
That's terrible.
We was like, we might well want to go see Donald Trump.
I was just gonna say. Like, we didn't have to do it at the White House, but it was the same freaking setup there.
Fucking McDonald's.
Now you get into the league, man. You Pittsburgh Steelers for a little while. You bounce around, but then you ended up on TV, on the radio now you ESPN right now, right?
So I just left ESPN in January. New stuff there, working with DraftKings now. But I was at ESPN for the last 7 years, so it was.
Now tell me, how did you go from? Did you always know you wanted to be, a personnel in the radio and broadcasting world? Yeah.
So obviously, like you mentioned, my dad. When I was growing up, I always tell people I knew my dad a lot more as a member of the media than a football player.
Okay,
my dad played. He played 9 years in the league, but I was 4 when he retired in his last year. So I don't have a lot of memories of that. But when he started doing, Mike and Mike in the Morning was the big show that he was a part of for 2 decades. And so I grew up watching that and watching him call college football games. So yeah, by the time I hit high school, I was like, whenever football's done, this is what I want to do. That's exactly what I want to go out and try and be.
So did you go to college for that? Like, was that your?
Yeah, that was my major in at Notre Dame. We didn't have like some schools have like communications, I took whatever our version of comms was there. And like back then, like, so 2008 to 2012, like, when we were all in college, that was the very beginning of a lot of the social media stuff. Like we were just getting Twitter, YouTube was just starting to pop off like that. Yeah. And so me and ironically enough, the guy that's the producer on my podcast now was a D tackle for us at Notre Dame, one of my teammates and one of my best friends. We used to do all like the behind the scenes content for the team. So all the stuff that we would put up, doing like the tour of the facility and interviewing other guys on the team, we would do all that stuff when we were in college as kind of a way to start getting reps at doing the media thing.
Oh, that's smart. He's smart, man. Hey, because we ain't had none of that.
Hell no.
I mean, so like, was that something that was, I mean, obviously, with your father, you was already, kind of had an idea this what you wanted to do, but did Notre Dame provide like with you guys equipment, cameras, mics? I mean, like, just like some, just shit to work with during that time?
So I'll be honest, we were at the beginning stages of that stuff. We didn't have any of that. Yeah. You guys remember those little flip cams?
Hell yeah. I remember flip cams.
Hell yeah.
So it was me, Brandon, and this guy named Josh Flint, who was the one video coordinator we would work with. And it was the 3 of us going around with a flip cam and then just doing that and uploading the shit onto the computer from there. Like, so we used
grassroots.
It was wild. So we used to do this thing called Trick Shot Monday where like, after we would, so, you come off the weekend, you do the game, we would watch tape and have the meetings breaking down the game that we had just played. And then we would have like an hour break. We would do dinner and then we would do the meeting starting on the next week. Yeah. And so in between, we got bored one day and we literally set up a cup full of Gatorade in the locker room, like a beer pong cup. And we were just trying to like bounce a ping pong ball off random shit and make it in there. Yep. We ended up videotaping it on the flip cam and putting it on YouTube. And this stuff started to do numbers.
So you're going viral years ago.
Like 3 weeks later, my brother made a shot that was number 3 on the Sports Center top 10. What? And that was when we were like, okay, we have something here. Now, again, we're doing it on phones. We're taping to the wall. Fast forward, I came back like 5 or 6 years later. Those guys had full-on HD cameras and stuff. It was like the Fox 4K camera in there. Right. We were like, all right, so we laid the groundwork so you guys could come in here and ball with an actual budget now.
You're welcome, guys. You're welcome, guys.
Now, I know, like you just were telling them, his dad on Mike and Mike, and a couple times I know I saw myself personally when your dad wasn't on there, you stood, went in for him, to fill this role on the show. Was there ever an episode where both of y'all was on?
Yeah, so I got like a couple of my first times when I went in there, so I got to ESPN, I got cut by the New Orleans Saints in fall of 2015. And when I got done there, that was, the third time I'd gone to training camp. I hadn't made a team. I was like, I need to find a job that I'm actually going to be able to stick with for a while. Because at that point, I was 3 years out and just hadn't played enough ball. And so I got to ESPN and I was like 26 at that point. And the first couple of times I went on and filled in, I actually got to be on with him. And I always tell people, like, as well as we know any of our friends, or as well as I know any of my coworkers, like I was up there with my dad. We had known each other for 26 years. So he was setting me up for stuff perfect. He was lobbing me He was throwing lobs in the like how they always talked about LeBron asked his teammates, like, do you want the ball on the right hip? Do you want the ball on the left hip? Like that was the accuracy he was throwing the shit to me with. So it was a huge help of the early going there, man. It helped a lot.
Yeah, bro. I mean, that's real deal. This going back to just like, we talk about, family ties, generational wealth, getting like setting them up, man. Like his dad really did set him up for success with that. Because I'm pretty like after that, obviously, you already see what's going on. So that's what you got to do.
Do you see yourself feeling like, well, not feeling, but having your own role, like your own Mike morning show or evening show, like, Like your dad had, or like Beaumont Jones in this show, Stephen A. Smith got it in the Skip Bayless and Shannon and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Could you see yourself having those primetime shows?
Man. So like the wild part is, and I always tell people it's weird because coming into the building when your dad's been the guy in there, like obviously everyone talks about the nepotism stuff, which is real. Like, listen, I had help getting in the job in the building. I never lied about that, was never going to put on a false front about that, how I got help. It was my job once I got there to earn it, to go and put the work in to make sure that I got to stay there. But it's hard to find your own voice when your dad's in the same building and you got the same background. And he and I actually we ended up for 3 years doing a show together. So after Mike and Mike in the Morning ended, my dad and Trey Wingo, who was the ESPN draft analyst for a long time, was the host of NFL Live for a long time, they put them together on the morning show. I had been doing a 4 to 6 a.m. Eastern morning show for the last few years at that point. And they started just letting me come over across the hall and I would do like the first hour with those guys. Cause they're like, all right, you're young. You kind of don't think about stuff the same as them and you'll get them a little bit riled up to start the day. So I was basically over there to be a shit stirrer. Like if anyone knew how to piss off my dad,
it's going to be
me.
you. Yeah.
So they just sent me over there as a man on a mission. And I slowly kind of got to work my way more and more into that. And then ended up being a full part of the morning show there for the last couple of years of that. And so, like after that, I was like, all right, I not only want to do this, but I think I can do this at that level. And so, I got to be a part of hosting a couple of afternoon shows there at ESPN. I host the podcast now through DraftKings, but I think for me, that was the part where I was like, all right, I can definitely see a future where I can be in front of a microphone and I can try and, do what you guys do, bring people inside the locker room in certain spots, show people what those conversations are like. And also just try and lead discussion like that, try and bring people together in that way for something that's fun and interesting, hopefully.
Now, the way you just described that whole thing, at once upon a time, you felt that way about football.
Yeah.
So can you describe to the people like your journey? Because once again, that's what the first thing you kind of following your father's footsteps type of thing. You always got to be in his shadow. Most people, that's Mike's son. So could you describe? That's little Mike. Yeah, little Mike. Junior over there.
Junior over there, goddamn.
Can you just describe to the people like what was that like? Since they know how you feel about and you in the ESPN, you in the radio, in the broadcasting world. Now you got to describe to the people how you were and what you felt in the football world.
Yeah, it was a lot of the same stuff, man. Like I always, so my dad, my Uncle Bob, who was 7 years older than my dad, my Uncle Greg, all played football at Notre Dame. My dad and my Uncle Bob were both captains at Notre Dame. My Uncle Bob's a 2-sport All-American there. Like we had grown up going to Notre Dame games twice a year from the time I was in like the 4th grade. So I was thoroughly brainwashed. All I wanted to do.
No choice.
Yeah. Oh, no. It was like my dad at the beginning of the recruiting process. So my brother was a year younger than me, played tight end at Notre Dame. And when we were getting recruited, he sat us down. He's like, listen, just because I went to Notre Dame and your uncles went to Notre Dame and your mom went to the all-girls school across the street doesn't mean you guys have to go there. You guys, this is your own journey. We'll support whatever you do. I'm like, Dad, I've grown up with a Notre Dame rug on my room and 3 different posters on my wall since the time I was 6 years old. Where the hell do you think I want to go?
Miami. Right.
What? It makes no sense.
Bro, I don't know. I ain't gonna lie. I'm just picturing this. What if you told your dad I'm going to Miami, bro? Think about how Miami is not, obviously, y'all think about it, Miami, Notre Dame is not the same what it used to be. I'm talking about prior to 2005. Convicts versus Catholics.
Yeah. Facts.
And he's like, nah, you know what, Dad? I know I love Notre Dame for a long time. I'm going to the U, baby.
To the U, baby.
He would have lost it.
Hey, that shit would have been crazy.
Oh, my God. I would have paid to see the look on his face. But it worked out to where I ended up getting the offer to Notre Dame. And even back then, the same thing as kind of the nepotism thing, getting the job at ESPN. When you get the offer, I was the first commit in my class, and you have plenty of people that are going to line up and say, well, the only reason he's getting to go there is because of his dad. He's a legacy case, yada, yada. So it's tough, but it was kind of like the broadcasting thing. And what I always go back to is, I really had to know and be sure this is what I wanted to do. Like if this was something that you were just doing for fun or to half-ass, you weren't really into it, it's not worth all the stuff that goes along with it. You guys know that journey is too hard to go through all that to not really love it. And so I knew I loved it. I knew that was what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be. And so it made it easy to go there. And listen, I was a late bloomer in my career. I didn't end up playing until my true senior year. The back half of that, I ended up started 17 games there my last year, my 5th year senior year. But during that time in the middle, you ask yourself a lot of questions. And it is tough because you hear all that outside noise about, you not living up to the name or you not living up to your own expectations. And so it was, it was a lot of conversations leaning on my younger brother who was going through a lot of the same stuff and trying to make sure we kept each other up. And then just, you focus on the work, because once you get there, the name doesn't mean shit. All the stars don't mean shit. You show up there and it's winter workout, spring football, fall camp. And then, you got to go out in the field and do it. And so for me, that's why, the 17 starts I had and getting to play in that title season, that stuff always means a lot because no one else can do that for you. Once you're out there in the white lines, it's you and the guy across from you, and that's all you got. And so that was, that's always an experience I hold tight and something that I think shapes a lot of what I do now.
Absolutely.
I got to ask, just going back to just your, just getting into broadcast journalism. Because I know like now, or at least when we were in school, there was like a major at my school. Like broadcast journalism was like a major.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, did you have, or are you currently studying? What was your process to really just get into like where you are now? Even to like your pops. I mean, like, did he have to go back and study like, what broadcast journalism is? Like, are you writing papers? Are you doing like, I'm real talk. Are you doing like current event reports and stuff like that?
So when I was at Notre Dame, I took a couple of classes. Like I took a broadcast journalism class. I took a writing for television class. I did a couple of things so going into the summer of my 5th year, I graduated already that spring. And so that summer I did like an internship with the camps group around there to get some boots on the ground experience of going around and doing interviews and all that stuff. But the interesting part, and the part that I always explained to is, and this was something my dad made clear to me a long time ago, is I'm not really a journalist by that definition where I'm going out here and, you see the guys, the Field Gates, the Adam Schefters of the world, the guys where it's like, hey, you got to have 2 sources. You got to make sure you're, working all of those relationships inside there. What I watched my dad do and what I grew up wanting to do and am now, I always say to people, I'm an entertainer. Like, I'm an entertainer and an analyst.
Fuck, I tried to tell. Hey, that's what we do. He did. Roger, I tried to tell your ass, I ain't no motherfucking journalist.
No. He didn't say journalist. He said you are media. He did say you're a media.
And that's the same thing he tried to put me in, bro.
Media and journalist is like 2 different things. Mike, come on now, help me out.
Media is the big umbrella that we all live under.
Facts.
Okay.
If you're doing this, you're technically, whether it's, new media like Draymond talks about or whatever you think about the old media, anything where you're putting out content and people are consuming it,
you are media, baby.
Okay.
That's media. But there's like the analyst side of things where it's, hey, former players, people that break down the game. I always tell people you're trying to give people the cliff notes. So the average fan that's never played ball to the level that you guys have, you're trying to give them a cheat sheet so they can go and pass off your knowledge to somebody else. Like I got to call games
then, bro. Slick. I mean,
bro, we definitely.
We be like breaking down plays.
I'll be an analyst before I be journalist, though.
All right, okay. All right, what else?
I guess the journalist stuff's too much pressure, man.
I just don't like them.
Facts.
That's also true. Is like the journalists are the ones that you had to deal with the most often as a player, and you always got to wonder about it's a different relationship for sure.
Now to take it out the journalist goofy ass, your head coach at Notre Dame did some goofy shit when he was at LSU. He was going around that thing doing that dance. So now, do you have a Brian Kelly story? We need to hear something funny because we saw that funny shit he did. He got to have some more.
He got to have some other shit in the tank.
Man, we didn't get that version of Brian Kelly. What I will say now is the version of Brian you see now doing all that stuff is a lot calmer than the Brian Kelly that we had at the beginning of Notre Dame, right? Like,
I will say on TV he did look like a tight ass at Notre Dame.
So I don't know if
you guys like he was.
Well, you guys remember, so when he first got there, that picture that people always blow up where his head is like big and purple and he's like yelling at somebody. I remember that was like his first or second game at Notre Dame.
Exactly. Tight ass.
He was letting it go. He was letting it go there a little bit. And I'll never forget every stadium we walked into for the rest of the season. Someone had the big fat head cardboard cutout of that in the stands. So we would walk out of the tunnel and you would see like 8 purple Brian Kelly heads staring back at you in the crowd. And then he realizes like, oh man, you know what? The cameras are on me all the time now. Like this isn't like being at Cincinnati or like being at Central Michigan where he had been before. There's always cameras on you. And so if you get caught slipping like that, everyone's going to blow it up and put it in front of your face.
I feel that.
That has to be.
That's funny, bro. Right.
I ain't never walked in the stadium and seen my head just blasted with me doing some shit like that.
Yeah, right.
Other than that's different. I feel shout out my boy Preston. But I'm talking about like Cam Newton. We go play Alabama and they playing some song about money. You know, because they say you take money and shit.
Oh, okay.
You know, or like we just said, Russell Wilson going to the
Falcons.
They playing number Future.
Yeah.
That's got to be a mind fuck just to like walk in the stadium like, God damn it.
All right, here we go. They on that shit today. Here we go.
All right, now go ahead and ask everybody what you about to ask him because I know you about to ask him. I know you've been waiting to ask him about
what?
Man,
well, I wasn't. I ain't gonna ask man about man time, bro. Like,
we're gonna cut it out if we have to.
We got a whole episode on that, bro. I ain't trying to get canceled today. But I do want to ask him. I do want to ask him though, which I'm pretty sure you'll probably get to, but I'll go ask the question. Is like, I mean, heck, you know what I'm saying? You was undrafted too, like my boy. Right? I mean, like, tell us about the story, man. Like, I mean, how it felt like, you know what I'm saying, being undrafted going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so I always tell people I was pretty realistic about where I was coming out here, right? Like when I talked to my agent back then, it was like, you got a shot to maybe be a late round guy, but you're probably going to have to work and go in with that mentality of being an undrafted free agent and having to earn your way there. And so I got lucky going to Pittsburgh. That was a really like quality organization. I always tell people you have the rookie symposium for the draft picks in the NFL where they send all those guys there.
I was in the last rookie symposium class.
Really?
I want to say it's over. That's over.
Damn. They that was probably over after Chris Carter told everyone to have a fall guy.
Oh jeez.
you guys remember that?
It was
told somebody like you gotta have somebody gonna take that. You go do something.
Okay.
Can't say that.
He kept it too real up there on the stage.
Too real. He should have had a podcast.
He should have had a podcast.
That is true. He mistimed the jump on that one. But like, you know, like, so when they had the rookie symposium where they'd send the draft picks to teach them how to do it, like, you know, teach them about, you know, money coming into the league and all these different things. The Steelers did that for all their rookies. So they got us all in there and taught us all sorts of stuff about.
Hold on, everybody, all the undrafted, all the drafted?
Everybody in there.
Too.
They had a presentation for us every week on how to handle all the different things that you were going to come into as a potential NFL player.
Actually, no, I'm lying. We had that too.
Okay.
I'm tripping.
Well,
you remember that? Hold on. So that was the same thing when they brought that $1 million in cash in?
They didn't do that for us.
Oh,
you guys saw $1 million in cash?
We saw $1 million in cash. Like, they brought $1 million in cash in.
I didn't see that.
Wait a minute, hold on now. So, like, they just brought that, look, this is what it looks like, and then they show you, like, how you can, like, blow it?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
But all I saw was $1 million in cash.
Oh,
I didn't know what we didn't at all.
We didn't get $1 million in cash. We got like a borderline sex ed talk where they put up on the screen how all of the different STDs look in real life. It was like beyond scared straight for STDs, where it's like, man, listen. If you mess around, this can be your world. And everyone's
wild, bro. I didn't see
that either,
bro. I don't remember that talk.
People got a sex ed talk. That's crazy.
We in the 5th grade. What the fuck going on?
I don't remember that one.
Which I think is still wild when you get sex ed in 5th grade. This shit wild to me.
For real.
It's wild, bro.
So go ahead, get out the way.
Notre Dame, I know y'all wasn't taking sex ed, but y'all had a lot going on like every other college. Do you have a Notre Dame story, some funny shit y'all had going on out there, some stories that the people wouldn't usually hit. Now, I ain't talking about like this supposed LSU sex party. I don't want to hear nothing about that.
Yeah. I can say, listen, we didn't have anything going on like that.
I don't know nothing about that.
I saw that pop up, and I was like, okay, this is a new one, man.
Hey, look, I'll say that Baton Rouge will bring something different out of it. All right, now that's all I'll say.
I will say I've been down to Baton Rouge one time. And the first time I went down there, it was for Alabama LSU. I was working at ESPN, and it was Alabama LSU when Tua was playing there. It was like 1 versus 3 in that game. Oh, shit. And I ended up out at I think it's Bogey's is like the big bar down there.
Bogey's go crazy. I think it's shut down.
No, Bogey's? Like the one that we had up in Memphis?
No, I don't know. It's probably not the same.
Bro, remember Bogey's food in Memphis? You remember that joint, bro? Okay, I'm about to say, bro, act like I'm crazy.
Go ahead.
I know, but it was and so we had gotten there right after, I think Jarvis Landry and Odell had both been back in there. So we had just missed them. And then right in after them Paul Wall walked into there and was just hanging out for the rest of the night. And I remember I started talking to Paul Wall, and I realized how old I was because I was talking to Paul Wall, and he started telling me about his kids. And I'm like, damn, the guys that I grew up listening to have grown children now that they're talking about here. He had the grilling and everything. He showed me his business card for the shit still, but it was something else, man.
People will go crazy.
There you go.
That really do go crazy.
Trying to tell you.
Does Notre Dame party?
Yeah. I mean, Notre Dame doesn't have places to go party like that, but you have no choice but to learn how to drink because there is nothing else to do in South Bend.
I mean, I heard that shit out there.
He said you gotta learn how to drink. They make a drink differently.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Okay, now we did see that you shared one of our videos. What we named it? The white boy cussing?
Yeah, white boy cussing.
I was around white boys too, and that was cussing. They
cuss different.
They cuss way different.
White people love the F word. They love
to say the F word too.
Yeah, but the way they say it differently.
Fuck!
You don't know they happy or mad.
You're fucking right.
Hey, real.
Fuck yeah. You fucking did it. You fucking did it. Bro, a white person, the first person I heard, he was like, man, I got to poop. I was like, what? When I was growing up, we were already, hey, I got a shit. I said, man, what the fuck is a poop? Nigga, I've been shitting since 4th grade.
Now, you got to give us your analysis. Was it hitting right? Did we do it right?
Guys, that was the most spot-on analysis of white people I have ever seen. When the part came up about white guys saying I took a poop, I felt right there. Because I don't know what it is where we just take that 4th grade ass vernacular and we take it all the way through. But yes, that was spot on. How white guys say fuck and saying poop and all of it. Had us dead to rights.
I got a damn screenshot. My buddy texted me the same shit earlier this week.
So you got the poop.
He say fuck just like that, bro.
I'm telling you, bro.
I'm like, damn.
Happy,
he said he's traumatized right
now.
Well, tell the people, man, before you get out here, I know you gotta go record your pod, man. Tell the people the name of your pod, the Joe Go, where you can find it, all that, where they can find you.
Yeah, no, I would say at my Golic Jr. on all the social media accounts, and then the Gojo podcast, wherever you get them, Twitter or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google,
yes, sir,
all that good stuff there, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. You know, it's like we described, it's a radio show that just happens to now be in podcast form. So, no.
Hey, so I did notice, hold on, I noticed that a lot of radio shows are doing that. They taking their radio show, they fucking 7-hour radio show.
I mean, they still got to do it though,
and chopping them bitches up and then making them. I don't like that.
I mean, but they have to do it. Like I feel like iHeart's pushing it hard. Like iHeart just going to radio shows, getting these shows. Like Breakfast Club is
a radio show,
but
and
it's
they
like
put
a
it
podcast.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Hey man, you got to meet people where they are. That's why you see all this shit going on TikTok and stuff now too. Like that's why I've seen your guys clip everywhere. It's the same thing. You just got to meet people wherever they're at.
For sure. For sure. Wait, man, we appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you spending your time with us.
For sure.
Man. No, definitely. Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.